Election day did not turn out the way that we hoped it would turn out, and it is no secret that I have some concerns about Donald Trump and his agenda. But, you know, really, I mean, let's look around the country. People are angry. People are scared. They are deeply worried about their families. And here's the thing. They have every right to be. So the question is, what do we do now? Here's my answer. We fight for the people who sent us here. We fight for people who want to build a country that works, not just for some of us, but who want to build a country that works for all of us. That's what it means to be a Democrat. I want everybody in this room to keep in mind that Donald Trump did not win a majority of votes. The majority of people picked somebody else. And the Democratic candidate got about, so far, it's about 2.3 million more votes than Donald Trump did. That Democrats took seats away from Republicans in both the House and in the Senate. Why does that matter? It matters because we are not the minority party, we are the opposition party. Now, when you're the opposition party, the American people who sent us here do not expect us to roll over and play dead.
Yes!
This fight? Well, for me, you get back to basic principles. It's about what do we fight for? What does it mean to be a Democrat in America? And for me, this is really pretty simple. It is about basic dignity and respect for every human being. We believe in basic dignity and respect for every human being. We believe in building economic opportunity for every person in this country. That's it. It doesn't get much fancier than that. Those are our core two principles. But we need to get to work. We got to fight back. You know, Donald Trump has hired a man as his strategist in the White House who associates himself with white supremacists. He's nominating an attorney general whom his fellow Republicans voted against because of his racist statements. And since this election, hate crimes and attacks on religious and racial groups have skyrocketed. We have only one choice here. We stand up to bigotry. And on that, there is no compromise. In all its forms, we fight back against attacks on Latinos, attacks on African Americans, attacks on women, attacks on Muslims, attacks on immigrants, attacks on disabled Americans. We fight back when they make attacks on anyone, because that's who they are. And there's the other part to that. We fight to build opportunity, to level the playing field for hardworking families. You know, this economy is not working for much of America. And here's the bad part. This government in Washington is not working for much of America. Donald Trump understood that, and he tapped into the anger over that. You know, he said one thing that is right, because I've said it too. The system is rigged, but let's be clear. It is rigged in favor of billionaires like Donald Trump. loading the swamp in Washington, but so far he seems to just be loading the swamp with more swamp monsters. We just heard about this one today, that he has nominated a Goldman Sachs banker to be basically the chief economic officer of this country, a man who worked to help create the financial crisis, and then after it occurred, bought a bank so that he could squeeze the families harder who got caught up in the mortgage crisis. That's who he thinks has the right insight and the right values to run this economy. He's also lined up a couple of billionaires to help him out. This is one of those times where you really have to say, now more than ever, we have to be out there fighting for economic opportunity, not just for those at the top, but for all of America. This is a core part of what we do. I want to make a point about this because you kind of watched the conversation of where it's been going around this, and there's something that's really important about this. We stand up to bigotry, and we stand up for economic opportunity. Fighting on these two fronts is not either or. It's not either or, it's both and.
Yeah.
That is what we believe in. We fight against hate and we fight to build economic opportunity. These two are not opposites from each other. I think about it this way. We know that a broken criminal justice system, a broken voting rights system, decades of systemic racism, redlining, predatory lending, and on, have kept Black and brown Americans from having the same opportunities as white Americans in this country. We cannot ignore that our African American friends and families and neighbors literally fear dying in the streets. And we cannot ignore that Donald Trump has threatened to round up millions of people and tear families apart. We cannot ignore that a new Trump administration is talking about registering people based on their religious beliefs. He's talking about doing that right here in America. So that's it. This is what we stand for. We stand for fighting against bigotry, against hatred. We stand against hatred. We do that as Democrats, and we do that as Americans. We also know what's happened with trickle-down economics. And coupled with trickle-down economics, the attacks on unions, the attacks on wages, the attacks on pensions, the attacks on health care, the attacks on Social Security, on education, on infrastructure, on financial regulation, all of those attacks have gutted America's middle class.
Yeah.
We fight to make sure that every family in this country has an opportunity to build some economic security. That is why we are here. We fight for both. We fight for respect and we fight for opportunity. Donald Trump campaigned on fear. He told Americans that the problems in America are caused by them. By people who don't look like you, or people who don't worship like you, or people who are somehow different from you. And that's just not true. It is not true, and it is an ugly idea that tears at the very fabric of this country. It is also an ugly idea that helps keep the system rigged. Bankers can run our economy for Wall Street. Oil companies can fight off clean energy. multinational corporations can ship the last good jobs overseas. When we turn on each other, rich guys like Donald Trump can push through more tax breaks for themselves, and we will never have enough money in this country to educate our children and build the infrastructure of the 21st century. When we turn on each other, we turn our backs on the basic truth that diversity and immigration made this country strong. And it's our differences that make America great. This, and we come together to talk about what we're going to do as Democrats. I mean, let's face it, we're all wonks, right? Only in a crowd like this could you actually get applause over the Congressional Oversight Panel. Right? Jamie laid it right in there, and a lot of you took the hook, right? Said, I'm ready on this. And we do. We come together because we believe in policy. We believe that government makes a difference in people's lives. But we also come together to reaffirm why it is that we're out there fighting. To reaffirm why we get up in the morning and fight all day long for the things we believe in. And why it is that we still are working as we go to bed at night. We come together to reaffirm what it is that makes us who we are as a Democratic Party and who we are as Americans. So what I want to do tonight is just spend a little bit of time talking about the things we truly believe in. You know, I'm going to start with one that really matters deep down. It may not sound as inspiring, but boy does it matter. We believe in accountability for giant banks. And when CEOs break the law, they ought to go to jail just like We believe that every kid in America is entitled to get an education without getting crushed by student loan debt. Workers have a right to come together, to bargain together. We believe that no one who works full-time should live in poverty, and that means raising the minimum wage. A lifetime of hard work, everyone is entitled to retire with dignity. And that means protecting Social Security and Medicare and expanding Social Security. You know, I can't believe I have to say this one in 2016. We believe in equal pay for equal work at all. I'll tell you one more that the senior senator from Massachusetts loves, and that is, we believe that equal means equal, and that's true in marriage, it's true in the workplace, and it's true every place in life. Some of our beliefs are a little controversial. Be steady here. I'll give you a tough one. We believe in science. We believe that climate change is real, and we also believe in keeping families together, in common sense immigration reform, and no matter how many times Donald Trump says it, we will never build that stupid wall. Donald Trump calls African Americans thugs, he calls Muslims terrorists, and Latinos criminals. He brags about sexually assaulting women. Well, we believe that racism and sexism and bigotry have no place in our country. We believe that Black Lives Matter and that our diversity...
Please do!
Oh, I would. But there's one more that I just one last one that I gotta stick in here. And that is, we believe that millionaires and billionaires and giant corporations shouldn't be able to buy elections or politicians. We believe corporations are not people that values, those are American values. They're American values, and we're going to keep fighting our heart out for every one of those values. We come together, we make each other strong, we remind each other why we're in this fight, and I guarantee you that we are going to hang together. We are going to be the party of opposition, but we're going to be in this fight to make it a better America every day.